book day and welcome back, all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is US Comics Cast, HQ for all things comic book connected. We are John and Charlie Rivera, co-founders of US Comics. Charlie, now that you are done tickling me where it's inappropriate, man, what a P. Diddy Jr. over
How
here.
How dare you?
Happy Comic Book Day.
Happy Comic Book Day to you and to everyone listening and watching live. As always, we are brought to you by Bad Mary Band and Sergeant Finesse Gaming. If you haven't done so already, please hit that comment section like he was dressed like a tiny little Irish Hulk. That's a tie.
There was so much phlegm in that poor
I really
Hulk.
wasn't expecting
No
the,
wonder why.
You got like a lot of retribution.
No
in the
wonder
opening.
Hulk gets angrier and angrier, and his pants get purpler and purpler. We'll get
How
to
are
that.
you here
We're
and
gonna
on
get to that.
Facebook?
Well,
That's impressive.
I'll tell you what. My secrets are my own, pal. But yeah. So that being said, we will indeed get to the little man with the Irish purple pants. We'll get there, but first and first, mostly
purple.
So it's the purplest. But first and first, mostly, I lost many years of my life. Many good years. Some might argue the best years to the phenomenon on PC and some consoles, granted, known as the MMORPG. And for any of those uninitiated out there, that is the massively multiplayer online damn games / curse bane of your existence. These video games, they tend to take over your life
Were there
with
more
a
than...
stranglehold and refuse to let go.
Did you have more than two? Were you not just WoW and
So
DC? You never got into
so-
City of Heroes, which
So I did.
ate up years of my life.
What happened was this. See, what had happened was
What happened is
the main culprit for me personally was World of Warcraft, and we can thank none other than the Sarge for that shit. But yeah, so World of Warcraft tends to kind of like got a deep hold on me, and it was just it had such a deep hold on me that I was also like I was spreading the disease. Like I'm like, hey, check this out. Hey, did you see this? And what ended up happening was, for me, it kind of petered out a little bit, only for that reason, but not until I'm like, hey, what other MMOs are out there? So it's like, just like any other good addict, I'm like, no, whiskey's a problem, but I hear that heroin is a lot of fun. So you end up kind of like looking for the next thing. So yeah, so there was DCU Online, there was City of Heroes, Star Trek had a huge MMO. I mean, it was just one after the other.
Star Trek, that's an addiction.
Yeah,
I've
man.
never even seen you mention Star
I
Trek.
can stop anytime I want. I don't have the problem. You got the problem.
What would be the property that you would be like, no, I need to go to rehab? If they were like Golden Girls, the MMORPG, you'd be like,
oh, when you realize that you really have
yeah,
a
like
problem?
what would be the issue? I remember I tried to play City of Villains. Thank God my computer wasn't strong
A
enough.
spin-off of a,
But I still spent like a month on City of Villains, choppy as hell. The frame rate was 1.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was awful.
You were doing the MMO version of trying to watch scrambled porn as a little
100%.
kid.
100%. And there was no trick where like if you held it perfectly betwixt. Like the first television I remember was one of like the clanky.
Yeah.
But we had a cable box. Like it was just an older fucking television. But I remember if you held between channel 2 and channel 3, it would unscramble it. So you just had to be really the dexterity. You know, it was important.
The dexterity?
The dexterity.
Nice.
I used to hold it with my tiny finger.
You know what? To be totally frank with you, in the MMO game, again, City of Heroes was unique in that it almost directly led to DCU Online.
Led to some lawsuits first, and then immediately DCU
Shit
Online.
happens.
Yeah.
You know, it happens all over. Truly though, it was really the time, like that massive. I mean, and even, you know, very recently we have Open Sky, and we've got, look, the MMO has not gone away, but that's not the point of the combo. The point of the combo is there is a new addiction. I mean, MMO on the horizon.
As long as it's not one of your favorite fictional
Oh,
properties, I feel like
bad
we'll be fine.
news.
Oh no!
Such bad news because it is Dune. Dune Awakening has got an entry into the MMO world. Holy shitballs is all I can really say. I've watched the trailers at this point. I've watched actual gameplay because there's a closed beta situation.
You want to know how you can set up your little ribbon at the bottom?
Anyone who doesn't know, who's not a gamer per se, the closed beta happens when the game is very, very close to completion. Like, the game is already thinking about baseball stats and, like, grandma climbing uphill, and the game's close. The game is very, very close, but it's not quite there yet. So what they do is the developers, the video game developers, they open the game up to just like, here, go play it.
Hey, do notes for us.
Go play it. Matter of fact, Red Dead, the way that we play it, is kind of an open world game.
Yeah.
Except that the world is geographically somewhat limited. But Red Dead Online is Red Dead 2, excuse me, is an MMO,
which is really Red Dead 3, but they call it Red Dead. It hurts my brain.
Listen, it happens to the best of us. The Evil Dead can teach them a lesson.
That's true.
But yeah, that all being said, so there are actual normies out there just playing this shit and pointing out little things and kind of noticing what doesn't work. But ultimately, that means that gameplay is watchable on the interwebs.
That's like so exciting, but like such a tease. Because there's no release date. The trailer you sent me was like,
as of yet, there is no release date.
Trailer,
but we know that we're close.
Which
it's
is
like when you go to the mall and you start noticing Christmas decorations, like, oh, it's coming. It's coming.
That's the most Dune shit ever to do, though, because I remember we first knew that Zendaya was going to be in Dune like 41 years ago. That movie just came out
when she was -13.
Do they have, like, have you done the deep dive into like when this takes place in the Duneverse, or are you like, I'm gonna save all of that?
Duneverse.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm calling it. Also, I had a quick question because the trailer's tremendous.
Yeah.
The trailer was one of those trailers where you're like, I want to shoot stuff in the world of Dune. I get to build stuff in the world. I get to have friends in the world of Dune. I don't even have friends in real life.
The trailer is one of those very well crafted ones that show you like a cinematic version. All obviously computer animated and stuff like that. But like, you get a cinematic taste. You get a gameplay taste. You got to like, well, maybe this, maybe that taste. It really kind of tickles the pickle and gets you so excited. At least I do.
The worms look like they were ripped out of the classic film. Is that how they described in the book? Are they more like a penis tip that's been cut into like 3?
What's going on?
I got a lot of weird shit going on me today. It's been a weird day.
My man's got teeth situation. We need to get you to a doctor.
Well, because I bought all those popcorn buckets and I was disappointed that it wasn't the modern worm.
That'll do it.
It was the old worm.
Actually, it's funny that you say that because the anyone who's paying attention knows that there is obviously a little bit of a disparity between kind of what we saw of the worms and which is not their name, but that's not
they're like
actually
or whatever.
Nope. However, we also haven't gotten still that good of a look at them, so we don't know. It could be a predator situation where like all of a sudden like
gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, then you're in big trouble. Arrakis has many secrets. So
there's that cut up dick I was looking for.
Yeah, but like the video, not to spoil it, guys, go check it out. It is on the tube of you. Go check out the trailer, check out the gameplay, because a lot of the visuals, like Charlie said, are kind of a combination.
I thought that was so cool because it really was kind of have your cake and eat it too. Because I've listened to a couple of the books, but I didn't really recall. Like, it's one of those things, once I see a movie of something, it replaces in my brain. They could be describing it one way, but I'm like, I now have 2 movies. This really did feel like they took what I imagined was the original like description of what shit should look like, plus the 2 movies, threw them in a blender, and you're getting a little bit of everything. Because I felt like their suits, they're like save all the water you got suits.
Yeah.
They're literal sweatsuits. I thought those looked incredible. And again, very much like a hybrid. They were like that darker color that we got in this
Yeah,
newer.
I honestly, I think what it really is saying is that it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
You know, we know that the Atreides family is there, because in the timeline, like that's when shit really pops off at all.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I don't think it really makes a difference whether you're dealing with, with Paul or with his kids or honestly, if it's even after the fact, like it doesn't really make a difference if we're in Messiah period or King of the Universe period or fucking, the
All
pink
would-
phase, whatever the case might be. It all counts.
It'll just really affect like what the ancillary characters are.
Yeah, but only assuming that you're dealing with them, because
That's true. It's a
that's
planet.
the
It's a
other
whole
thing.
fucking planet.
Somebody was just talking about being goddamn. Oh, I know what it is. I'll actually reference it later. Remember this point, folks, when we are at a different topic altogether later on. But yeah, there is something to be said about like, kind of like dealing with the people, the characters that the policy affects,
Yeah.
as opposed to the policy makers, because a lot of times the people that make policy aren't affected by policy, so to speak, to use kind of like union speak.
Yeah, that was very like John for fucking.
Appreciate your vote. So let me ask you this, Charlotte.
Yes,
so
please.
obviously, again, we've established already in past episodes.
How good looking I am.
Nope, we haven't gotten there
I
yet.
feel
But
like the gray is making me prettier.
maybe at some point down the line.
Fair enough.
I'm a huge Dune guy, to the point where they could pump out anything, like one of those toasters that put the image onto your bread. Like I'm like, yeah, I gotta get that. I'm in.
Doing the breakfast cereal.
But yeah, that like Dune the bag of sand is just like the most straight up
This is very
cosplay
literal.
shit that has ever been. So a Dune MMO game is calling my name.
Yeah.
Literally in that voice where like you have to like, give me your drink, bitch. Drink. Like it is.
He was being real Dune-ish.
They have me already, bro.
Yeah.
I'm got. But is either the Dune property or the MMO style of gameplay
Yeah.
enough to attract a guy like yourself, a nerd like you would?
I don't really fuck with MMORPGs.
Okay.
I'm not one of those people that's like just
Except
as good
for
on
City
console.
of it, because
City
that
of-
you definitely.
If they like we put it on Xbox and it comes bundled with a keyboard and mouse.
Mhm. like critical love that the series has been getting thus far. So, but the truth of the matter is, it's another method to draw money out of the property. The IP is money, is ready to give forward the money like so much spice.
So one thing I think might be affecting the mics is you're only facing me, and normally you're kind of looking at the camera.
Okay.
So that might help a little bit. I'm gonna go check to make sure I'm not losing my mind with that.
Yeah.
With that being said, oh, it's fixed now, so that's good. Thank you, Ellis.
Weird.
I'll still double check it in a second. It may have been a loose wire, frankly. John, the thing is, my first thought when I saw that trailer was I did not know it was an MMORPG. So for me,
What did you think it was?
I was just kind of drinking it in. I thought that could have been like an announcement trailer, and like I was waiting for when I saw stuff being built. I was like pretty confident this is an MMORPG. The thing that I think my brain went to was my feeling is always like, so Spider-Man for PS4 was like one of the greatest experiences I've ever had as a video game.
Okay.
I think that was like 6 to 8 hours. I don't think you could do a Dune story justice in 8 hours. You need a platform like an MMORPG to tell this fucking inevitably 35-hour minimum story.
Well, they get to dictate to you everything that can be accomplished, and also with support. With support from the developers being what it is, they can consistently be adding new stuff to it as it goes. Like what ends up being appropriate for whatever their audience is, they can add events and they can add new stuff to the quote unquote map, which is like an entire planet. The big point of the entire open world idea is that you can go anywhere, you can effectively do anything. If you want to ride a worm, across country, do it. That's kind of the whole point of it. So I don't think that they'll ever run out of material per se. It's really just about how much interest is going to be generated. If it's just going to be hardcore gamers or if it's going to be casual fans, I really don't know.
So one of the biggest MMORPG failures based on a property that was beloved, Matrix Online. What was cool?
It was bad.
Matrix Online was fun as hell.
Nah, it's bad.
Stop it.
It may have been fun for a huge Matrix fan.
But what I was going to say, though, what's interesting is they started, and the only people that got it were huge Matrix fans.
Yeah.
And then, by like word of mouth, is what pushed them to what was their highest player count. So I think Dune, it's a property with more room to have like a wider story than the Matrix allows. And I think if the function of it is good, I think it'll draw in more people. I feel like day one, I feel like the pre-order people are going to be MMORPG fans and Dune fans. And there's a lot of them. But the fact that they're piggybacking over this epic reboot of the movies is going to help. I think it's all going to come down to what their expectations are. Because at this point, WoW is the gold standard. World of Warcraft
even though WoW has taken a massively hit compared to their numbers were obscene.
Yeah, I think if they
like 8 million concurrent players at one point, which is fucking nuts.
Everything in the studio has lost its mind. Let me ask you this: do you think it's going to be a freemium game?
No.
You think they're going to charge you up front and then charge you for expansions? That is going to be interesting in this world because I think that's going to allow for, in my opinion, a much better game. Because I think what we've seen lately is all these games that try to be a living world like an MMORPG, and a lot of these games aren't. You look at Kill the Justice League. Was trying to charge you kind of every month.
Right.
And charged you up front and fell apart. I think if this is a full package, if I can grind to get all the shit I want, if I can't necessarily cheat to get the best shit, I think that'll help the audience. I think right now gaming has a real lull of the next addicting thing.
Right.
And Ellis says that MMORPGs work better when it's own thing. That way the discovery of the world is all in the game and there's no limitations. I see the appeal of that, but the statement he just made is a way that you'll never get me in the door. the truth is something like even World of Warcraft, which was by and large its own thing, took from source material. The online,
Well, the sword and sorcery, kind of format is pre-existing. If they use a particular name for a dragon, you've seen a dragon before. You know what I mean? So it's not
imagine if
quite.
someone had it, they're playing fucking what the fuck is that?
What that's the biggest lizard I've ever seen.
But the last memory I have of you with the last distinct memory I have of you with an MMORPG
Yeah.
is when mounts were added to WoW.
No.
And I remember not only were you excited about it,
Yeah.
right? Everyone around you got excited. That's the first time I played. That's the first time some of your nerd friends from work played. You were the outbreak monkey of like, not only do you need to play this game, everyone look how cool this fucking mount is.
No.
And you had like a griffin.
I cannot be. I can't be held responsible.
You sold
/ tech.
55 copies.
I sold some copy, but the Sarge is the absolute. He's not the outbreak monkey. He's the outbreak gorilla, because he was the one that really fucking set it off. Civilization. Ellis brings up Civilization.
He's saying the original Warcraft played more like Civilization. than
Yeah,
it
of
did,
course. Well,
what it wound up
the
as.
top down, like the 3/4 angles. I mean, those are entirely different video game experiences. And matter of fact, World of Warcraft, if you scroll back far enough, you can actually emulate that fucking overhead looking down angle, which is kind of amazing. But ultimately, what they really want to give you is third person perspective, right? Not this first person over the shoulder nonsense. But the truth of the matter is that really what has threatened MMOs to the point of almost extinction is fucking, forget about shooters, specifically like these so fuck, what's the word that I'm looking for. In any case, the point I was trying to make is that like the
Battle
MMO,
Royales?
kind of sorta. But MMOs used to be the big swinging dick on the block, and properties were tripping over themselves to give you a version of that, and that kind of went by the wayside. And if somebody said to me, "Oh, they're coming out with a Dune video game," never in a million years would I have thought they're gonna go the way of MMO, because again, it's so rich in terms of content that if they didn't limit you, I mean, Star Wars is probably a better advantage. So Star Wars had an MMO, actually I think two, and for some reason it just fucking didn't work. And that's literally a universe worth of content. And again, as I was saying before, some of these newer ones, Open Sky and this and that and blah 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 blah, they promise you all of these potential things, but without that IP to connect it to, when they say, well, you can do almost anything, yeah, that's great, but what can I do?
Yeah.
Like it's not my imagination, bitch. It's yours. Tell me what it is that I can do exactly. And they had some very very neat original ideas,
Yeah.
but it didn't go anywhere. Whereas Dune is established.
I also think there's two things that I want to mention. The fact that it's based on a property as well off as Dune is right now. One, it's in the public zeitgeist. Like, it's arguably never been as big as it is now because of recency bias. I'm going to say that. But also, as well as they have the money to make this a known thing. They'll be able to have big tournaments. They'll be able to get gamers to at least know it exists. And that temptation to try it, once you pick up an MMORPG,
They know it exists.
you almost have to spend 50 hours, 100 hours on it just to kind of see what it can do. I also think Dune has really helped compared to, let's say, a Star Wars, with very few exceptions. If you're in a Star Wars game, you probably want to be a Jedi or Sith. Not a lot of fucking people.
Not me.
Not a lot of, well, you're
I want to be a space junker.
yeah, space junker, nice. Not everyone has the desire to kind of play a class that maybe their upside isn't until you're a while down. There are people who played a smuggler, but you would see so many fucking lightsabers, and you have a blaster on your hip and a cool ship, and you're like, this is a bad fucking call, me. What's cool about Dune is, like, because you're not Paul, you're not You're not coming across as the Messiah. I hope that the game is like, you're either gonna fucking ride a worm, or you're gonna ride one of those sand bikes that I'm just so desperate to see more about, or you're gonna be a guy who fucking throws down with swords, or you're gonna be a guy who throws down with immediately. What it does in just the trailer I watched is it sets you up for like what the classes most likely are, and trading a blaster for like, maybe I'll ride a worm. Sincerely, I had that whole thought on the drive over to the studio. I was like, yo, what class am I going to be?
But that's the whole point
That's
of
so
MMOs,
fun.
is that you can pick a specific destination ultimately, and then they make you work towards it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, if they have an option, like you can be you can end up being the general of the army, then 100% I'm gonna go that way.
Yeah.
And forget about like the spooky voice, this, that, and the other thing.
So you're going to be the general. I'm going to be the fucking worm rider, because that sounds really weird now that I said it out loud. And fucking Ellis is going to be a mentat. He's going to just figure out algebra for us.
But yeah,
That might be fun though. I know Ellis is making fun, but like being able to fucking navigate and shit. All right.
So final thought is this. Again, MMOs are not the most talked about thing going right now, but if you were a fan of the most recent 2 Dune movies, if certainly you're a fan of the book series, if you're an MMO fan, you have to don't just check out the trailer, because trailers do have a tendency to
Fib.
Yeah, they're like movie trailers almost. They'll just show you what you think you want to see, and a lot of times it's just gameplay that matters. So as these betas get going, gameplay is now available, and the developers are showing us gameplay also. That's what counts. That's what sells the game. Check it out. If you get addicted, don't blame me. I don't have any connections with Betty Ford. I'm not saying that it's the best thing to do. I'm just saying it's probably going to be a lot of fun.
You're definitely playing. Can I be part of your guild or whatever?
I mean,
taking out like good people.
Somebody's got to handle the sandworms, and nobody handles a worm better than Charlie. And if somebody tells you that Charlie is not the master blaster sandworm handling son of a bitch, they are one thing and one thing only, and that one thing is just like that Fibber McGillicuddy, no chin having bearded son of a bitch, George Toy Boy Lucas. Why is that, Charlie? Why? Go ahead and tell him like it was just a big, fat, girthy, veiny sandworm that you were handling.
Because Han shot first. Whatever.
I thought
he's implying that the sandworm's a cock. That was spicy as shit. I'm not even gonna sell it. I'm not even gonna sell it. This is why the veiny worms stay away from you.
Oh, the spice.
The spice.
The melange got stuck right in here.
So as offended as I was by your segue to Lucas don't like, get your hands. Hey John, do me a favor?
Charlie.
You wanna step outside? John and I sat down last night and we watched the remake.
And I do want to step outside.
Of Roadhouse. Amazon brought us the remake. There was a lot of talk about this film not going to theaters as was promised. The director, famously, in my own mind, I told John last night before we got started, good for this director, standing up to the suits, because fuck the suits. But
I guess fuck the suits.
John, this is as close to totally understanding suits that I've ever gotten. Roadhouse from Amazon, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. It is the worst film of the year that I've seen so far, and I saw Marky Mark get outshined by a drowning CGI dog.
The dog was the lucky one.
Roadhouse makes every wrong decision that you possibly could. But here's where I want to start. Before we get to the bad, I want to remind everyone that your opinion is valid. Just because I think you're a fool does not make you a fool to everyone. John and I have very, on occasion, come toe-to-toe about the whether or not a movie like Fast Five is valid. So I always like to do something I wish movie reviewers would do. One of my absolute favorite movies in this genre is Bloodsport. It's a movie that was made for $6. It makes every obvious choice. And ultimately, the reason that I keep returning to JCVD and Bloodsport is because that's a film about fucking tough macho guys being tough macho fucking guys. A bad thing happens, they lose a fight, they come back. It's the Rocky of it all. So when I saw Patrick Swayze, who I was obsessed with because of Point Break, when I saw him in Roadhouse, the original Roadhouse, Jake the Snake Roberts being a badass, every fucking body chews cigarettes. In the original Roadhouse, I personally was very, very excited when I sat down to watch this movie, despite a trailer that felt wrong. What is in this genre? What do you think is one of your favorite films? Just so they can kind of know
what's the genre
where we're
that
came
you're
from.
talking about?
Like a dumb action film, like a beat 'em up movie almost.
I mean, there are so many.
So like this wouldn't be qualified. This isn't this or the original Roadhouse. They're not competing with the first Rocky, but they might be competing with Rocky 4, Bloodsport, a lot of the Bruce Lee, flicks that maybe people think about less. Where action and fighting takes the forefront as opposed to story.
Very
I apologize.
dare you.
I apologize already.
No. I don't think that you can necessarily compare it to let's
Bloodsport is based on a true story that actually happened. It's not made up by a liar. That's why it's awesome, says Ellis.
Yeah, Ellis is 100% right. Frank Dukes might be the most accomplished liar that has not run for political office that this country has ever seen. He just made all of that stuff up, like off the top of his head. Like, yeah, see, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Then I punched the gorilla.
And then I kicked him across the room. Yeah, I do splits. Yeah. But that all being said, I don't think that you can compare something like Roadhouse to Rocky 4 because there was not a fucking Academy Award winning Roadhouse, original that it was spun off of. I think you can only really, and it's dangerous territory, admittedly.
You're going full schlock.
You have to compare Roadhouse to Roadhouse, right? Like it's a 1-for-1.
Well, that's fair. What did you feel about Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse? Is that a film you love? Is that a film you like? Is it a film you think is just fine?
So I'm glad you asked, since I set that up myself. So I take big umbrage with modern reviewers. They are just the worst.
They really are just drizzly
They're just terrible. I just learned how to type. Look, I got a computer. So great. I'm gonna do this about it. However, there was a time where reviewers they fulfilled a very important function, right? And they kind of told things like it was. And fucking Gene Siskel was one of those cats. Now, Gene Siskel said of the original Roadhouse better than I probably ever could have. Guys, this is a fucking... I'm paraphrasing, of course.
I was like, Gene Siskel don't fuck around.
This is a bad movie that you are gonna love. You're gonna enjoy from beginning to end this very bad movie, which is something that Charlie and I have been speaking about often. People like to say, oh, that movie stunk, or this movie was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and blah blah blah. No, it wasn't. You liked it or you didn't like it. You loved it or you hated it. It was meh. Like that. Those are the categorizations that matter to me personally. But a movie like the original Roadhouse, where your mind is telling you this is bad for you. This is caramel ice cream inside of a hot lava cake, sprinkled with cocaine, served to you by a whore. You're like, well, I kind of want to try it.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that.
It's definitely not good for me. This is not going to... Thank God today's a cheat day. Because I'm definitely going to try some of this. Like, that was the original Roadhouse. And even as a kid, you're watching, you realize, well, this is not Shakespeare. But, fucking Patrick Swayze would punch Shakespeare in the mush and knock that bald bastard out into the parking lot. And Charlie, this movie was just... all it was a glaring message to anybody who's paying attention, of how much fun you're not having. Like, I actively was not having fun, which is like to say this movie put me in a bad mood. Like popcorn, cookies, nothing could drag me out of it.
I was impressed at how bad of a time I was having.
It was
Because if you just
like this.
just to give a 10-cent version though, Roadhouse, the original, is the story of a fucking bouncer who's so notorious that another bar
For being a bouncer.
Like,
Let me check on the bouncer news.
for being the greatest mulleted bouncer.
Oh me, oh my.
So the movie literally opens up with Patrick Swayze being a badass and some guys like, I run the double deuce.
As what? As a bouncer.
As a bouncer. I run the double deuce and I'm trying to make it classy.
Which is hilarious.
But it ain't. So how about you come work for me? And Patrick Swayze says, and then there's all sorts of weird character shit that never gets brought up. Motherfucker, they're like, oh, we'll fly you. He's like, I don't fly. All right, well, when do you want to start? I'd be like, when I fucking do.
You don't fly. There must be a story for that.
He is so fucking cool that he has a car to get beaten up. And then he has a real car that he drives to his new. Then it's just
Charlie, he carries his medical records around
just
because it's easier.
motherfucker gets stabbed and he's just like, meh, another knife wound. So as far as elevating material,
Yeah.
there's places you could have elevated the original Roadhouse. And Jake Gyllenhaal's Roadhouse instead decides to, in essence, bring back his character from Southpaw.
I wish.
John, why the fuck does the Amazon version of Roadhouse be like he is a tortured, correct me if I'm wrong, let me know if I'm full of shit.
Okay.
He is a tortured former UFC household name
Yeah.
who like accidentally, a little on purpose, kills his best friend in the
But
octagon
why would he do that?
and then
He's an asshole.
goes from town to town fighting in illegal fights. But since his reputation precedes him,
But not.
they allude to the fact that he never has to fight because every fucking body knows who Jake Gyllenhaal is, right? So then he decides to go work at not the Double Deuce, but the Double Deuce is next to a bookstore, and instead he works at a Roadhouse that's called Roadhouse.
Yeah,
Get it? It's very funny. And then it turns out that before the movie starts, she was trying to get Post Malone to be her new bartender, security guy, but because
all I know is when I think Post Malone, I think that's a tough
no, that was
dude.
legitimately, I was most impressed
Ooh.
that he was like proud enough of his body that he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna be a little bit chubby.
No. I respect that. That was probably the only respect that I put on that movie was the body positivity.
He has a
of Post
poster.
Malone.
Why does Post Malone have a Roadhouse poster?
Well, that's where, bro. Poster is his actual.
Oh, it's
name.
Poster Malone.
Dude, don't be ignorant.
That's really sick. John,
Ah.
why the fuck is there like a child sidekick? There's a series of adults. You brought up this fact in real time, and it wasn't annoying at all because it's the only smile I got. You kept calling out exposition, and every other scene is exposition.
Dude.
But it's about shit sometimes we don't return to.
But here's the ironic part, and this is something that, congratulations, Charlie pointed out. This movie had basically. Do you remember Twins?
I hate that you got so happy just
Do you
now with
remember
this thought.
Twins?
Dude, I love
All right.
Twins.
So famously, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito are twin brothers.
I see no problem so far.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger got all the good stuff, and Danny DeVito got all the shit.
You know, the shit left
So
over.
it resulted in an Arnold and a Danny. But the whole point was, while they had one mother, they had how many fathers?
Wait.
Too many,
Yeah.
and that's how many writers this murderous, rage-inducing flick. You know what was actually funny to me is something that you mentioned earlier, is that the director was like, "Man, they promised me that this was gonna go to movies, to movie theaters." Really, sir? Really, that was your biggest issue with what ended up, this final version? They might have run you out of Hollywood Town on a rail if they had the audacity to put this thing into movie theaters. It is,
It
Charlie.
is
I hated this movie so much that my pants almost turned purple. I almost got a weirdly, seemingly inauthentic Irish bro. Isn't he Irish?
He is
Is
Irish.
not Conor McGregor
Yeah.
the Irish scourge
I am-
that attacks buses and parking lots like hotcakes?
I am officially
What the hell was
confused.
that?
Maybe it was all CGI. All I know is if Ryan Espen from the New York City Ghostbusters
Oh,
Since
Ryan.
Feeling hasn't seen Twins, he's no longer allowed to comment on his preference in movies.
Ryan, how could you have not seen Twins by accident
Yeah,
at this
it's
point?
just John.
My man.
Conor McGregor is, I would argue, terrible in this movie. The best part of the movie, and it's awful.
But here's my.
Oh, I'm a liar.
I'm sorry.
After you, you do it.
You're definitely a liar. But tell me what.
No, because Ratcatcher 2 is in it, and she's fine.
Oh yeah.
That's a beautiful woman.
She's all
But
right.
her character is terrible.
So dumb.
So dumb.
So
The best thing that character does is she kind of molests Jake Gyllenhaal.
Bad.
He specifically says, I didn't know this was a date. And she goes, it don't matter, sucker. And then she like,
Give me that pants. And you're like, whoa. She put the Dune voice
she
on.
put the dude voice on.
He's like, oh, no. I'm not waxed. So
I'm not waxed, he said.
what ends up happening though, in my opinion, and it is an expert one, I've got a card, is that when certain aspects of it are so glaringly, painfully poor that anything good that might happen is ruined for me. So I'll say this. The cinematography was weird as hell. They would speed up and slow down footage
Oh, yeah.
to elicit like some kind of a speed effect.
It looks like they filmed
which
every
I
punch like
get it.
this.
It was so peculiar. Or you're like
Awful.
What just happened
Just
right
a
now?
blurry mess.
It was so
But
peculiar.
they would shoot Jake Gyllenhaal like a swimsuit model.
Oh my god!
There are some scenes you're like, yo, what is this?
Well, then
what
you
is
know
this
what, though?
perfect lighting?
Then maybe there is a tiny sliver of the enjoyment pie. Like if you
really love a moody Jake Gyllenhaal posing.
but here's the funny thing to me.
Oh my god, yeah.
So whereas the Sways, he was like,
stealing that.
I'm the coolest shit that you have ever seen in your life. That's how he played it. At no point did this guy wink at the camera. So like, see what we're doing here? And that was to me the biggest issue that I have. And I appreciate Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. I've seen some work of his, which I thought outstanding job. But I felt like the way that he was playing this the entire time is that both he and we as the viewer were in on some shared joke.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny. It was not funny at all. I did not sign up for the quote unquote joke.
It felt not dissimilar to dissimilar to the comparison of like an SNL skit. If Jake Gyllenhaal was hosting SNL and they did a Roadhouse skit and it was like Millennial Roadhouse. At no point do they, you know what it was to me? You know how some people are sick of Ryan Reynolds because like they're having too much fun? There are some people out there who's like, fuck Ryan Reynolds.
Blake Lively about. Well, it's great.
You know, her opinion is her own.
Give her a break.
I support her, especially if she winds up as Lady Deadpool. I just want to see her in something skin tight. He was doing his like bad impersonation of Deadpool if he was a handsome UFC fighter.
He was like,
I did not understand what he was going for.
He wasn't being funny. He was like,
nothing mattered.
He's like, oh, everything's funny to me. But like, no, that's not true also, because you've definitely played it differently. If that was going to be your motivation to carry you through this script, which this must have been printed on different color paper, like on page to page, like it was such a cohesive mess. Like just one page was not connected to the next.
You know what?
It was so disjointed, just unenjoyable for me from beginning to end.
One of the biggest things I bumped into is in the third act, he basically says he's the Hulk. He's like, I don't like to get mad because when I get mad, I get dangerous. But then his last series of fights, which involves like a boat explodes, He keeps trying to kill Conor McGregor. John, he the whole time is having still those like quippy lines of like he'll get shot in the leg
I got one.
and he's like, "Well, I won't be dancing." Be like, shut the fuck up.
But like, it was. So if Patrick Swayze sauntered through Roadhouse making dad jokes,
Yeah.
then you could have been like, oh, well, this is a spin-off. Oh, this is clearly like whatever. The Rundown.
Okay.
The Rundown is one of those, to me,
The Rock classic.
enjoyable bad movies.
It's not Johnny Knoxville. It's the
Not Johnny Knoxville.
It's the kid from the Pie fucking movie.
Yeah, exactly right. Stifler.
Stifler and The Rock go on an adventure.
So, ironically, his character, The Rock's Dwayne Johnson, if you're nasty, his character, I don't use guns.
Yeah.
I don't use guns. And you're well into the third act where he's like, nope, now I gotta use a gun.
Time to use guns.
And you're like, oh, okay, no, now I understand why he doesn't use guns. Jake Gyllenhaal was like an ass kicker when he was quipping.
Yeah.
When he was making stupid, goofy jokes and stuff like that, and having, multi-Latino foods, which are apparently all the same now. Hollywood needs to learn, like, there are 20 countries that all speak Spanish.
Very specific racism.
Not the same cultures, guys. Not the same cultures. Different places, different parts of the world. But that all being said, that wasn't Jake's fault.
May have been. I know, blame him for everything.
What was his fault is Maggie Gyllenhaal. They let her just run rampant. No, in all sincerity, Charlie, the movie just, it brought me. It was not even, and this was Siskel's point, is that it wasn't even so bad of a movie that it became enjoyable again, right? Like every bad movie to you has a point where it flips. You're like, oh, okay. So I've told the story before. I'm gonna tell it again. This was in the blockbuster years. This was like little maybe junior high level. John, out with a little group of ne'er-do-wells and mixed bag boys and girls. So we wanted to kind of show our mettle, and the blockbuster employees follow us because like they'll be a problem.
Little fuckers are doing something bad.
And this place is carpeted, and we can't afford any spillage. So they come over like, yeah, can we help you? Yeah. It was Halloween time, so they're like, what are you looking for? Like, we want something scary. And this was one of those, it was just an older kid that worked at Blockbuster, older than us. And his exact question was, well, like, how scary? Because clearly this was a horror movie nerd level kid. And don't forget that this is the 90s. So we say, our answer is, we want it like stupid scary. Now, at that time, at that period in time,
it goes to the earnest section.
It could have gone a different way. Now, the way we meant it was like the most scary thing ever because want
hip
these
young kids,
these like
that shit is stupid.
Early teen ladies to be like, oh no,
you just want a girl to cuddle you.
Yeah, of course. And my man took it as like stupid, but still kind of scary. So what does he give us? Evil Dead. The first time that I saw Evil Dead is because I was misunderstood by a well-meaning other older teenage Blockbuster employee. But
Captain fucking literal, I hate that guy.
The reason why I tell this story is because Evil Dead is one of those flicks where at no point were they like, yo, what's some really scary shit we're doing right now? Instead of like winking and smiling and doing the finger guns to the camera like Bruce, the God Campbell did, right? They were in on the joke. Charlie, if this was a joke, nobody was in on it.
There's a running.
Like, no, we're doing this, and it didn't work.
There's probably 6 minutes of screen time dedicated to like Conor McGregor butt joke, and also, you know what else drove me nuts? The cool guy tattoos.
The front of naked Conor McGregor.
Yeah, it's just Conor McGregor dick everywhere. No, it really did truly feel like every decision was the worst one. This was Kevin Smith when he started his film career. He said that he saw Slacker and it felt like it was achievable. Not that Slacker wasn't good.
Yeah,
he felt like it's such a small scope. Like there's one fucking place. It's like a lot of talking.
want to be.
And that's why he felt like he could be a filmmaker. He's like, I could do that. And thus Clerks is born, arguably on par with Slacker. In my opinion, it's a film that can only exist because Slacker walked, Clerks ran.
Sure.
After seeing
There's a lot of that goes on.
After seeing Roadhouse, I really was like, you could be like, Charlie, want to direct Star Wars? I'd be like, all right. Like, if this counts, there's nothing I don't even need to see the script ahead of time. Like, it is directed poorly. It's written poorly. It's performed poorly. John, they do that thing where, like, certain extras, famously in the John Wick films, if you watch the fight scenes, they film them out of order, but if you were to watch them in order, you would see all the extras start with like long hair and beards. Then they get a trim, so they look like a different guy, the stuntman. Then like just mustaches and like still the hair, and then they're fucking bald and clean shaven. Like,
did this scene take place at a Freddie Mercury?
Why
does everybody have mustaches?
Dude, if you rewatch the John Wick series, the amount of like bald, face hairless guys in sequences, it's insane because they have to do it together, right? That is a film filled where everything is thought out.
Don't call it a film.
Fair enough. That is a flick where everything is thought out to optimize fun. For the first, for like 4 of the 8 Fast and Furious films, it was fun first. Roadhouse on Amazon?
Say that sentence again.
4 out of the like 10 Fast and Furiouses were like dumb fun. You cannot watch Hobbs and Shaw and think that anyone was like, we're doing drama.
I know one guy who did.
I love Hobbs.
that.
Hobbs. He eats the coffee. John, I couldn't. You said it perfectly, but to reiterate, I just couldn't believe that you could even make a Roadhouse film. I've seen Bloodsport 6. To go all the way back to my first point, I think Bloodsport's a fun fucking flick. I love it. Bloodsport 6 is terrible, and I still like it because it's Bloodsport.
Let me say this. When Peter Griffin did his Roadhouse bit, that was a better and more appropriate successor. To Roadhouse.
Roadhouse is 2 hours.
But here's the other thing.
2 hours.
And to go back to your, obviously, again, when you have 52 writers, they're all gonna want their voice quote unquote heard, even if they're totally different.
He leaves little girl money. Shut up.
Oh,
shut up, movie.
So that being said, who has had their stuff mangled and manhandled more than poor Patrick Swayze? Rest in peace, sir. Rest in peace. And every time they try to do it, it has been a miserable failure. Red Dawn, one of my favorite flicks, most enjoyable flicks from that era, butchered. Like, Cuba and the Soviet Union could have come down together in a giant helicopter and not butchered it worse with an AK-47. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but Dirty Dancing, they took a bite at again.
That was a sequel, right? Havana Nights.
I think they actively.
I'm sure they also. I'm sure.
I mean, just brutal. Like, literally.
Point Break is cancer.
Fast and the Furious is a remake.
Well, it's a good remake, though. Exception that proves the rule. Fast and Furious is good Point Break. Have you ever seen the Point Break remake?
Point Break is good Point Break.
Bro, Point Break, the remake, I think is worse than Roadhouse.
Wait, they remade...
Oh, yeah! Yo, they're not surfers, bro. They're into extreme sports. They do, like, the motorbikes, and they do, like, you know how... Wait, this is an aside. You know how in Point Break, they were surfers who, like, sometimes went parachuting?
Yeah.
They were like, we're young.
Surfers do that.
We're young badasses. We do badass shit. They also play football. That's not... The remake was like, you know what, though? They're extreme parasailers. So they took a parachute on their bike, and then they landed on a mountain, and they were like, oh, we're zooming. John, I now need you to watch the Point Break remake.
Maybe Fast and the Furious is a remake of the Point Break remake.
No, it happened after.
Of course.
So the Point Break remake was a bad remake of Fast and Furious, which was a good remake of Point Break.
Why, Lord? I wish I was.
And yet they haven't remade Point Break good with Keanu playing the older cop yet. Bastards.
Just stop it, please.
It is torture. My final thought.
Yes, please.
This gets added to my very short list of there is no joy to be derived from this.
No.
It is flushing 2 hours down the toilet. This is a flick that it's not even going to be fun to make fun of. This is garbage. It is disposable trash.
Yeah.
Let it die. Let's never talk about Roadhouse again. Let's learn from our mistake. This is the sort of thing where when it gets a Razzie, if Jake Gyllenhaal has any sense of
He better
winning,
take it.
he better accept it.
He better accept
because at least that's we try. I will never shit on someone for we tried and it sucked.
Yeah.
That's fine. Don't do that thing that's so popular now with it sucks because you don't get it. Fuck you.
Or
I get it. You suck.
Be like, it was a paycheck. So my
that would be funny. He accepts it. He's like, I'm now remaking the Netflix classic Paycheck.
So
donate it.
My final thought is not to you, loyal viewer or listener.
Oh no.
It's directly to Jeff Bezos. I realized that this movie came to me at no additional costs to my monthly subscription, or rather my yearly subscription in your case, because geniuses you are. Superman's coming, bro. But that being said, I did watch this movie 2 hours, and the snacks were dope, but you had nothing to do with the snacks. I picked up those snacks in person. I watched your movie. I didn't appreciate what you did. I didn't appreciate that you put it out into the world. You, sir, are the outbreak monkey at this point, so I would appreciate a credit. I'm looking for about $3.72 of a credit in my account, and I did just recently make a couple of purchases for Easter baskets, so the budget would appreciate that. I didn't appreciate that movie, and I'll look forward to my credit. Thank you, sir.
It's true. Talking about $3.25, let's pay some bills. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to do the joke I always do. You've seen people pretend that they play dollar store games for the phone, and it's really good, I swear. We're on part 3 of No You're Not, You Fucking Liars. When we sat down to do the show, we are making a comic book. We are circling the drain on getting stuff into your hands, but we wanted to find like-minded shit. So today we are once again brought to you by one of our absolute favorite bands, that of course is Bad Mary. You heard them during the intro. You're going to hear and see them again at the end of the show. If you're wondering where else you can catch their act, you can follow them over at Bad Mary Band across all social media platforms. You can support them over on patreon.com/Bad Mary Band. You can stay up to date. BadMary.com for merch and upcoming performances. But my favorite part, their entire discography, all their new stuff as it releases, goes immediately to all the music streaming services. And more music is always a good thing.
Word. Where we dropping with Sergeant Finesse. He's just always all over the map, literally and figuratively. Currently, you can find him gaming on kick.com. Also, as well as he's doing the TikTok thing. Which a lot of streamers seem to be making that jump. I guess they're taking advantage of it while they still can before TikTok is banned here in the States.
Because that's the biggest problem.
But also, again, just outstanding video game content, supporter games, co-streams, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. Check him out today. Also, as well as we haven't seen him in a minute, but he is still a dynamite Fortnite streamer. Jokers_stream_. You can check him out over on Twitch, aka the Purple Site. Dynamite guy. Look, these guys know what they're doing. You don't. Let's acknowledge it. Watch an expert and trust them, kind of like you trust us, which is probably not the best thing in the world to do. You have made a lot of mistakes. True. But Charlie, speaking of mistakes,
yes,
I am here to rectify a big one. So do me a favor, go ahead and press that button and get us moving in the right direction, please. Would you?
I don't think you understand these power dynamics. You hit the fucking button, peasant.
All right,
you hit the goddamn button.
That's the button.
Someone called me a button bitch. This is not the most auspicious start to a pitch, you son of a gun.
Well, that's just how it is because Charlie.
Elevator's moving.
I'm a big damn hero. Did you know?
Why is this poem nice? I'll
What
allow
is
it.
going on
That's
with
how I always do my
that
tie, baby.
friggin' tie?
Just be glad I found it this week.
Ties like this are the reason why Josh Whedon are no longer a thing in Hollywood. But because he's not,
I feel like it's other things.
no, that was the only reason. Here comes John to save the day and save damn near everybody's too short-lived property. Thank you. Now I say that clearly knowing that while this masterpiece of American television only had a single season's life
Just one.
on Fox. Matter of fact, not even one, because it was scheduled for 14 episodes, but we, as the little peons that we are, only got 11. And Fox was like, nope, sorry, we've got sports ball to play. So everyone thought, oh no, I really love this so much, and now we're never going to see it again. but we actually did, because we did. Ultimately, after Firefly, the series, clearly is what I'm talking about. Josh Whedon's own. I don't know if we're even allowed to say his name anymore, but Josh
Let's call him
Whedon's own.
Fuckface.
Guys, he made Buffy. He did some
Yeah,
stuff.
Fuckface made
did
some
some
excellent
stuff.
shit before he fell insane.
But that being said, we only got one season of Firefly, but we did get a movie follow-up called, obviously, Serenity. Some people felt it was forced, but anybody who watched the last season of Game of Thrones knows what forced and too sped up really, really looked
Or
like.
if you knew Josh Whedon.
Or if you had the displeasure to be on Josh's bad side for one reason or another, you were crying for sure, but also,
No,
you know,
bad.
yeah, on top of everything else, damn it. But that being said, this franchise, this IP, has spun off comic books and online entries, games, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And they have really done their very best to continue on this world, which is it's undeniable. To use a Charlieism here,
Yeah.
it is just one of those
First is
worlds that
strong.
that just kind of came seemingly out of nowhere. Nobody was looking for was the space the space western on TV of all friggin' places. But while we have had other attempts at continuing the story, and me, and I'm a comic book lover, we've had Josh Whedon and god damn, like we've had some names kind of try to continue on the narrative, but it just really hasn't hit the way I'm gonna do it.
Oh shit.
So what we are going to
fresh
do,
sequel, I guess.
yes indeed. So what this is, we're returning back from whence it came, back to series 4. All right, so we're not gonna make a movie because
Hopefully not on Fox.
Ellis did not like the movie. We're gonna go to one of the premium streamers. That's clearly who you work for with this time.
You know.
That's the way we're going.
Don't ever touch my tie,
Ah,
boy.
I mean, even the little part, the
Well,
little
that-
dangle.
You get.
Um,
You're always welcome to touch a little dangle.
Josh Whedon, it is you. So that being said, we are taking this back to the small screen. However, we're not going live action. All right, we are going the way.
Ooh.
We're going the way of the Animatrix specifically. Now I realize I have brought to you one or two other animated feature ideas, but when I say that we're going the way of the Animatrix, I mean that episodically we have a different animation style that we are presenting on a week-to-week basis. Not because it's fun to mix it up and give other studios jobs. No. For a very specific character-driven reason. So, but we're going to still start at the beginning.
That's a great place to start.
Thank you. My series, the brown coats are coming. The red coats are coming? No. The brown coats are coming. So, we open on an unfamiliar starscape. On screen is flashed the Outer Rim, 2539. We hear a familiar voiceover. Harumph. The Earth that was, barely a distant memory by the time fighting started. For 5 long years, us independents fought tooth and nail with those Alliance bastards. They were fighting for control over damn near everything. We were fighting for freedom. Oh god, I love that guy so much. We weren't the only ones in the verse that were willing to die for what we believed in either. The core world would have you think that it was the brown coats, that they're just a historical footnote. But on the rim, the legacy lingers still. Across the screen flies a very battle-damaged Firefly class starship as an acoustic version of the Ballad of Serenity plays. Just all the feels in that animated fucking Western style.
Amazing.
Ooh, I love it so
Who's
much.
this narrator?
I think you know he's wearing a maroon shirt and very tight in the crotch pants.
I'm already throwing some money at you for
Just for the pants?
just the pants.
The system again, narration. The system contains core planets and border planets. As a general rule, the further a soul travels, the less civilized society becomes. That's the way we liked it. We now see a small, dusty ranch, working but poor. An animated young Mal, I want to say like late teens, maybe early 20s, like 2021. Mal is outside on the ranch, which is where we know he came from. He's pinging laser blasts from a Moses Brothers self-defense engine Frontier Model B. He doesn't miss a shot. Suddenly, the frame rattles as explosives dropped from Alliance bombers way overhead decimate the landscape. He jumps on a personal transport and hauls ass towards the town center,
Space moped.
passing dead bodies and human and animal dead bodies all over the damn place. Now, Mal, again, for just a little backup, for anybody who doesn't know Firefly or the follow-up Serenity, shame on you. And Ellis, I will give you an episode in the Rankin Bass Christmas special stop motion style, 100%. I might even let you decide which character is going to get that particular animation
When the
style.
fuck did Alice become an executive producer of this bullshit?
He makes good comments. What do you want me to tell you? So now we see, in effect, Mal is our Luke Skywalker, right?
Fuck yeah, he is.
The shit hits the fan, but he doesn't get involved immediately. When things get very personal for him, on the Outer Rim, isolation, independence was like the thing. When the fight came to him, he said, "All right, now we gotta go." So his Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen get nope. That's different story. I'm sorry. However, Mal does get involved. A little late. Mal was a volunteer recruit into the Independent Planet's army, also known as the Browncoats. He rises to the rank of sergeant despite being a non-commissioned officer. Mal takes command of a platoon during a long winter campaign on the planet of New Kashmir. This was likely due to all the commissioned officers having died in combat. And as Mal was, he was unlucky enough to become involved in some of the war's bloodiest conflicts. That includes the Battle of Dukang, the Battle of Sturgis, and of course the infamous Battle of Serenity Valley, which, as we all know, was the ultimate battle that kind of ended the war in the Alliance's favor, because fuck the suits, I mean fuck the Alliance. Harumph. Now, unlike Mal Reynolds, Zoe was a career soldier who fought with the Independent Army from the very beginning. Of course, you know I'm referring to Gina Torres.
Yes.
She rises to the rank of corporal and served in the 57th Overland Brigade, serving in some of the actual same platoon as Reynolds. And the final 2.5 years of the war, they would go on to be the only survivors of that particular platoon following the Battle of Serenity Valley, which, again, as we all know, because it's the greatest show ever, is how the vessel Serenity got her name. So my point is this, and I'm going to retract. This is not a direct pitch in that sense that it's a individual episode. It's more of a series pitch that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Every episode is going to tell us the direct during the war events of a member of the Serenity crew that we love.
Clever.
So every single episode is going to have Mal's voiceover narration, but every episode is going to have a different animation style, which is really is kind of like the first thing that the writers, i.e. myself and Charlie and now Ellis, the first thing that we have to tell you about who the character is the fucking animation style that we're telling you their prequel story in for that particular episode. Again, it's an episode. It's an hour. It's 45 minutes, whatever the case might be. So we do kind of need to get to the heart of the matter. There's going to be plenty of montages. There's going to be plenty of like overheard conversation. There's going to be conversation that's heard, that's happening when other things are going on screen. But we're going to literally get to the heart of every single one of those characters we love. So we're going to get Wash scamming his way into pilot training, what his pilot training was like. The fact that he maybe fucking got pilot training on the wrong side, but he became one of the greatest pilots that we've ever seen in this scope. Jane fighting with literally against both sides at the same time during the war because he refused to pick a side. Jane he loves to wear goofy fucking hats and fight with everybody, and he literally did.
Both of those things are things you love.
That's his episode. Kaylee being raised in space as a stowaway and learning Starship's inner workings because that was her fucking house, right? We all know how to unclog the toilet because it's in our house. We have to unclog that toilet, otherwise we're literally filled with shit. And debatable, but that's the reason why she is the way that she's, an animation style specific to her story. What else? Simon and River are actually going to share a story because so much of Ellis's hated movie Serenity was dedicated to them. So they're actually going to share an episode, but it's going to be a little different. It's how they grew up on a core planet while this war is fucking raging on, and they're like do. However, even amongst the other Gap and Banana Republic dudes, and they had that shit even then. You're
describing you.
Yeah, it's true. They knew they didn't fit in. They knew a change had to be made. They were like still awkward and things like that. So that's gonna be their episode. Book tending his flock, but still kind of like doing shit that you wouldn't expect priests to do. R.I.P. By the way. Ron Glass.
I'm not.
Rest in peace. But this is tickled the pickle for me even the most driving over here. We're gonna get a Serenity episode. The old gal is getting her own episode. We're literally gonna see her history from manufacture to her civilian life, to her use during the war, then her time smuggling vessel, and then going inevitably back to war because while this relative what's up, Leonardo? This relatively short, limited series is going to do, aside than being a feast for the senses and eyes, it's also going to wrap up with this scene. Final episode ends. We cut back to an interior shot of a starship. Live action. For the first time in the series, we have live action. We still are hearing Mal. But this time, rather than like narrating, he's talking, he's talking in the room that he's in, and more to the point, like a reverse How I Met Your Mother. We're now for the first time seeing who the fuck he's talking to, and the camera is gonna pan to alien species that we have never seen in Serenity / Firefly before, but they are a familiar enemy species to us, and it's multifaceted. Like if the fucking aliens had a UN, this is what it was gonna look like. So we have again our familiar, fucking late night History Channel, TV show aliens with the big green eyes, grays, long necks, aliens that look like Spielberg fucking dreamt them up on the toilet, and they're just in effect sitting there like. Being pitched to in effect by Mal, as we know, my man's got some sales chops. When we broadcast to the verse, this is him talking. When we broadcast to the verse how the Alliance was responsible for creating the Reavers, it threw everything into chaos. That's why we need you. And then we see all the different alien types, blah, blah, blah. I just said that. Camera turns and we now see for the first time in the series, an older Mal. Got some gray in the hair, got a little paunch maybe. Those suspenders are coming in handy. He is still rocking that standard brown coat uniform. River steps out from the pilot's area. Time to be big damn heroes again. I don't know, Will. I don't like that. Again, anyone who saw the movie, whether you liked it or didn't like it, we know that we had several losses. Again, we lost Book, we lost Wash, we lost Homeboy is like, just kind of like out there doing his own thing. However, However, the comic books, while they're like okay to me,
Yeah.
they are indeed still canon.
Yeah.
So as he says those final words, we now get a reverse shot. There was a scene very specifically early on in the original series where you had, I think it was Mal, it was Zoe, and it was maybe it was Wash. I don't remember exactly. Or no, it was probably what's his tits. But in any case, they're there, and then the Serenity kind of like rise, like they pull a Back to the Future and rise up behind them. So now in this final shot, before we go on to what we're gonna go on to, you have Serenity. She's there in space, and she's pretty much filling the frame. And at that point, a second Firefly class starship, although a more modern version is gonna pop up, and then we're gonna see Zoe in the pilot ship across the way, because in the comics she does indeed, on top of getting knocked up and popped out a new one, she ends up with her own Firefly class ship that she got for mostly sentimental reasons. But now we got two Fireflies is better than one, with the new recruits, which are comprised of from unfamiliar to them but familiar to us alien species. They are now going to re-enter the fray. The brown coats are coming. Universe War Round 2. They're going back at it. The Reavers and what's left of the Alliance are busy fighting each other. So that means, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The brown coats are going back to it again. And I do ultimately want to spin this off into a new live action, but I just absolutely think that the animation style is the way to revitalize properly a beloved and gone too soon franchise. Do I get that money?
Conditionally. Here's what I want.
What a fucking con.
Because I don't want to rush.
I could have predicted.
I don't want to rush the live action. So here's what I want you to promise me.
Rush it? How? What's your definition of rush?
We have this first season.
Tom Sawyer?
It gets, yeah, fuck yeah. Everyone falls back in love with Firefly after season 1.
Of course.
I want a second season that is not delving into the past. I want to push us forward towards this big fucking war round 2. I want another animated season before we get that live action season for specifically 2 reasons. I don't want to rush back into the meat and potatoes of what's going to hopefully have a lot of action, a lot of fun, a lot of fucking inner turmoil, bringing back the people who are alive and introducing us to people we love. I want a transitional period to like be introduced to some characters. You can precast them to be the voices who are going to kind of fill this new verse that we're diving into. But I also want in that season, let's say, what do you want this first season to be? 12 episodes you're looking at?
Oh,
6?
No. This is one of those,
Say premiere.
like a special event type thing. Think the feeling of Watchmen.
Sure. So you named it before. Each character, a couple of those characters are doubled. The ship gets one. I need at least 6 episodes of transition. But of those 6, before we launch season 2, and this is still a year before live action, I would like 1 episode, like a lost episode of Firefly.
The Rankin and Bass?
No, that could be something different. That's the holiday
okay.
special. I want a special where I just want to see 1 adventure. You resurrect all the people who are dead. You can timestamp it.
I got it.
Hit me.
I got it.
And then you get all the money. This is going to be an unfettered budget.
I got it. You want a second season equal in length to the first, also in the animation style.
Correct. To transition us into what will be our new live action series.
And you also want, in effect, a lost episode.
Could be part of the season. Could be a special. Your call.
Could be part of the season. I'm going to tell you why.
Yes, tell me why.
Our second season in the animation style, though we will have cameos and special guest appearances by the voices of those that we had just mentioned in the first season, the second animation series is going to focus on the remnants of the Alliance and the Reavers and what they are up to. Now, your requested lost episode is going to come at the expense of a Reaver ship that is just floating dead in space, that Alliance scroungers come across, and they have a file. They've got an effect like the Firefly version of the recording that they got of the Alliance admitting to the shit that they did and fucked everything in the first place. And like, Commander, look what we found. Play it. And if we're in the animation style, they pop it into the Mr. Coffee. I'm sorry. I mean, Mr. Read the File machine. And when they pop it in, and it plays on the screen, so if you're seeing it play on their screen, that's in live action.
Done.
And that is they're like, what the hell? And in effect, what it is that they had a spy module on the Serenity for that period of time, and just unbeknownst to them, it was just fucking following their action, recording what was being said, was all up in their bitness. So us, the viewers,
I'm gonna pay for that CG.
we get
I'll make these motherfuckers look good.
We get a bonus lost episode of our original season. We get to know what the opposition is up to, and this is all before the.
Do you hear that?
Big.
Boop, boop. It's a money truck, motherfucker. Purchase.
Woo! Oh, I'm sorry. Woo! Yeah, we're paid, kids. We're paid.
Well,
I'll take that
done.
as a check. That's fine.
Muppet style, potentially, if we can't afford the live action CGI.
Muppet style is always on the table. Always, always, always.
Before we wrap it up, I do want to bring up Jason Carnaccio's comment.
Taking us back.
To Roadhouse. The fight scenes in Roadhouse that had that new AI technology and punches and tackles seemed like it was in slow motion. I was not a fan of the film. I was not a fan of the way the film was shot.
Oof.
During the action scenes. The acting was, well, Connor answers that statement. And that girl that wanted to bang Jake, and did, I think it's implied that they smashed, was cringe. LOL, of course, is all in my opinion. You don't have to hedge your bets on this show.
Yeah, no, Jason, you speak freely and from the heart.
I would like to more if Joe Carey played Dalton. LOL, overall, gave them only a 5. This is first of all, this comment reads like, fuck this movie. And it's like, give it above the middle. Like, you gave it a D+.
But again, D+ is bad, man. I keep on telling you that.
It's passing though, isn't it?
Stop trying to parade those report cards in there. Like, D+, guys.
Was I faithful? D+. It's like I wasn't not faithful.
Like it's like a premium streamer, bro. Give me a break.
John, there's only one way we end each and every episode of US Comics Cast. The first thing that you people have to do is you have to get a little bit of drunk. Make sure you follow us on all social media at US Comics HQ. But John, I'm going to tell the lovely people how we wrap it up. I want you to show the lovely people how we wrap it up. First, we got to turn the power on. Then we got to turn the volume up. Then we got to tune Bad Mary and open up the window wide. Scream out into that beautiful night sky. See my space girl. We out.
Trash.